Okay, we're going to get the sound checking. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sound is being checked.
Okay.
Yeah?
Let's try that.
Today we will be... Hello, brighter moon. Hello there, Neil. All right, now testing. Sounds a little bit better. Is there sound now?
Can you read our lips?
Cliff, where's the sound? Well, I don't know where the sound
No
is.
sound, you must dance.
Interpretive dance, interpretive dance. I'm going to do an interpretive dance.
TheOneRing.net/live.
Interpretive dance. We'll do anything we can to keep you guys tuned in while we get the sound fixed, even if it means voguing and interpretive dance. Things. Justin loves interpretive dance, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, that was me just a second ago, sending a message and saying hello. Wow. Okay, we're gonna get the sound checking.
Oh, there we go.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
All right.
Hey, log this in as a normal name.
I want to be anonymous. I don't want people messaging me. Every time we log in and people know who we are, we get a bunch of private messages.
That's the point.
And no, if you want to talk to us in public.
Well, with that delicious orange juice moment,
Torn live.
I now feel like I've had a proper breather, and now it's time to get back on the road, back on the airwaves with my friend Justin Sewell.
Indeed.
Right here, the man of the hour, the production man behind the scenes.
I don't know about that.
The man behind the booth, behind the glass, behind the curtain, who puts it all together.
Grunt to test sound. No sound, you must dance. Okay, tip your hat to clap. So, welcome to Torrent official start. Let's restart this.
Let's restart it. Hello there. Yes.
Hello everybody. Welcome to TheOneRing.net Torrent Tuesday. I'm Justin.
Hello, and I'm Clifford. And we're going to make sure that you guys are hearing everything. Say, yes, we have sound in the room.
We are recording this live, streaming it live at TheOneRing.net/live.
Where you see us every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, bringing you all the news and all the cool information in the world of J.R.R. Tolkien.
And if you click on the name of the video at the top right corner, it'll take you to our YouTube page where you can join us on YouTube, subscribe to us, and this is where we stream everything online.
Indeed.
This is part 4 of our ongoing series of the history of dwarves.
Part 4. Wow, we're coming into the next level of conversation about the great house of Durin, how they were all related to each other, and the dwarves' never-ending dreams of retaking Moria. We're going to be talking a heck of a lot about crossover characters between The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, particularly Oin and Gloin.
Really?
Yes.
I can't, before we get to there, let's recap what's been going on. This is a huge week.
Yes.
In The Hobbit. Huge. How huge is this?
Week. Well, it's so huge that just about 5 minutes ago, before the show came on the air, I got confirmation live, chatting with some of the actors, saying, "Excuse me, I'm being whisked away by the drivers and going right to the set for filming."
Set of the
Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug. Guess what?
No, I think they're doing reshoots for.
They're doing reshoots for. Well, they're doing reshoots
for
The
Hobbit.
What do you know? We know because I was talking to the dwarf actors who play the characters we're going to discuss today. I had a quick little hello with John Callan. He's the guy who plays...
Calhoun?
No, John Callan. Just Callan.
Okay.
John Callan, he plays Oin with the ear horn, remember? And his lovely pretzel-braided beard. With that has all that great pretzel braiding in it.
Okay.
And he's got the ear horn. And in the movie, while they're sitting down at the table, Gloin, who we know is Gimli's father from The Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Gimli says, Oin has been reading all the signs, the portents, and the portents say that the time has come. And he's trying to convince everyone at the table that Oin has seen that the birds, the ravens, are flocking back to Erebor.
Oh,
and
so
it's a sign.
That's why they think that they can get past the dragon. That maybe the dragon's dead, or maybe it's
that the wild birds are coming back to Erebor. So it's in the movie, and we're going to talk about those brothers. And the man said, "I've got a 5 a.m. call time on set tomorrow morning. tomorrow morning. He's got to work all day on the set today.
Go
home and
get filming The Hobbit right now.
And he's got to be back in the chair getting dwarf makeup on at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
As we speak.
They're making The Hobbit. He's on set. They're filming.
There were many people saying, look, if they're shooting anything, it's for the third movie.
Well,
and this may not be true because originally it was 2 movies, so they shot 2 movies,
yes.
And so now that it's 3 movies, they can sprinkle in a lot of stuff from both the second movie and the third movie. But we also have it on good authority, rumors that the edit to Desolation of Smaug was done in December when The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey came out. So the edit had already been done for the second movie, and it went to post. Mm-hmm. Like you pretty much have to have the film edited before you send it to visual effects, because you don't want to do more CGI than necessary.
That's true.
Every second counts.
Yes.
So rumor has it is that the second movie was edited back in December, finished, completed, and they're just doing visual effects. And so this shoot would only pertain to scenes at the third movie. But the interesting thing is,
the Battle of the Five Armies, particularly, must be a huge undertaking.
Who do we know? Who do we know that's in New Zealand right now? We know for sure all the dwarves.
Adam Brown, he was just here with us last week.
Who we know,
sitting in this very chair.
Who we know is going to be all the way through the third movie till the end.
Yes,
we know Luke Evans is in New Zealand right now.
Yes.
When does Luke Evans do we see his character all the way through the third movie?
Of course, absolutely.
Okay,
sure.
Okay,
you would have seen Luke Evans perhaps at the very end of the first film if it had remained a 2-film cut.
Right.
You may have met Luke Evans in
lives all the
briefly.
way through the third movie.
His character does indeed live all the way through the third movie.
We know for sure that Peter Jackson's on set. He posted a picture with Ian McKellen, who we definitely know lives all the way through the third.
Yes, because we know he dies in Fellowship of the Ring.
We know John Calhoun is there. And does he live all the way through the third movie?
It's actually John Callan, not Calhoun. Callen, John Callan. And yes, actually, John Callan, who plays Oin goes with Adam Brown's character, Ori, and they go with Balin to try to reclaim Moria.
Really?
And even better than that, Justin, if you watch The Fellowship of the Ring, where we meet everybody in the Council of Elrond, we meet Boromir, we meet Legolas, we meet Gimli. Well, guess what? Gimli is there with his dad. Gloin is there in the Council of Elrond, and there are shots of him arriving at Rivendell.
Well,
there he is. He's right there.
I'm telling you, I think,
but not the same actor, of course, who is Peter Hamilton.
I think they're going to change that. I bet you by golly, my money is on a special edition Lord of the Rings with CG replacements, green screen replacements of all the actors and characters that were in The Hobbit.
We don't know about that. But at the time, some of those shots were John Rhys Davies playing his dad,
I know,
as well as he was playing himself.
Now it wouldn't be that much effort to
put Peter Hamilton in instead.
Yeah, just film it. He's on set right now. They're there for the next 3 months. In fact, we have it on good authority that all the actors are scheduled to be there through the end of July. So that means no Comic-Con appearances.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Which means it is still May. So that's 2.5 months of filming. And that's a lot of filming. A lot of feature films are filmed in 2 months.
Indeed. Are you kidding? They're filming a whole extra bunch of stuff.
They're filming a lot of stuff. This isn't just pickups. This is a lot.
This is really expanding the film from 2 to 3 movies.
I'll bet you that we see them go reclaim Moria. I'm just feeling it. I want to see that.
Speaking of that, here I have my original, wonderful copy of the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is a single volume edition, and here's the chapter, the Council of Elrond.
The Council of Elrond.
Here's the part where
Fellowship.
Here's the part where Peter Hamilton's character Gloin, who says, "Nori, get me a shovel. We're making a long tear and deposit." That's Gloin, okay? That's supposed to be John Rhys Davies' dad. That's Gimli's dad, okay?
Okay.
So Peter Hamilton playing Gloin, He is actually at the Council of Elrond, and here's the stuff that Professor Tolkien says about everything that happens in their attempt to reclaim Moria. Not all that was spoken and debated in the council need now be told. Much that was said of events in the world outside, especially in the south and the wide lands east of the mountains. Of these things Frodo had already heard many rumors, but the tale of Gloin was new to him, and when the dwarf spoke, he listened attentively. So Frodo was there listening to Gloin tell this whole story. It appeared that amid the splendor of their works of hand, the hearts of the dwarves of the Lonely Mountain were troubled. It is now many years ago, said Gloin, that a shadow of disquiet fell upon our people. Whence it came we did not at first perceive. Words began to be whispered in secret. It was said that we were hemmed in a narrow place, and that greater wealth and splendor would be found in a wider world. Some spoke of Moria, the mighty works of our fathers that were called in our own tongue Khazad-dûm. And they declared that now at last we had the power and the numbers to return. Gloin sighed. Moria, Moria, wonder of the northern world. Too deep we delved there, and woke the nameless fear. And this is dialogue that ends up being spoken by Christopher Lee. Almost. Paraphrased.
Yes.
Paraphrased by Saruman. Long have its vast mansions lain empty, since the children of Durin fled. But now we spoke of it again, with longing, and yet with dread, for no dwarf had dared to pass the doors of Khazad-dûm for many lives of kings, save Thror only, and he perished. And that's what we see in The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Thror gets beheaded by Azog. We see that in the film. At last, however, and this is going back to Gloin's story in The Fellowship of the Ring, Gloin continues and says, at last, however, Balin listened to the whispers and resolved to go. And though Dain did not give leave willingly, he took with him Ori and Oin and many of our folk, and they went away south. That was nigh on 30 years ago.
So Ori,
30 years ago,
and Oin and Gloin, there it is in writing, in black and white. Those are the three main dwarves.
Gloin is alive in the Council of Elrond. He didn't go.
And so those are the three that
Balin and Ori and Oin went with a bunch of.
Okay.
Okay.
So Oin just went.
Well, yeah. Oin
Balin.
went. And guess what happened? In this history, as Gloin doesn't even know yet, and Tolkien is about to take the readers to visit the Mines of Moria in a couple of chapters hence. He's about to take us there, but hasn't taken us there yet. We're still shrouded in mystery at this point in the narrative, wondering what happened to Balin's attempt to reclaim Moria. We will soon find out when we get to that part of the story.
I'll bet you they show it. So what else is going on?
So that's the fascinating part
in the world of Hobbit.
What I want to say, it's really unfortunate that the Watcher in the Water takes Oin and kills him, and he dies at the hands of the Watcher in the Water.
Spoiler.
On the West Gate. That happens in the story.
I don't want to see that. You know what I do want to see?
You wouldn't alone to see the Watcher in the Water get poor John Callan?
I didn't like that.
That would be totally cool.
Yeah, I think that would ruin the element of surprise
that there's
in
a Watcher
Fellowship.
Really?
Yeah. Again, you don't want to ruin the original trilogy with prequel foreshadowing, which is the big mistake that the Star Wars made.
All right, fair enough.
And Star Trek's making. So I think that
really, I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, and I have quite a few comments about Cumberbatch. We'll be talking about him in a minute.
So I think that they should start their journey. I think you should still have Gimli surprised that his kinfolk have died. So I think that the end of The Hobbit 3...
Well, they wonder. 30 years have passed with no messages.
Should extend. The end of the third Hobbit movie, they should start the journey, and they should assemble the team that goes to Moria, and they should flash back to the stories. They should flashback of delving too deep and the awakening of the nameless fear.
All of this stuff would have to be well after the conclusion of Bilbo's story and after he's gone back home.
I'm telling you, if they're shooting 2.5 more months, of filming, they're shooting a lot that was not originally planned for the Hobbit story.
Really?
Which makes me believe that a lot of what they're shooting now is bridge material.
You think so?
I think so.
An extra film?
No, I just think it's the bridging material. I think the third movie is extended, so we have an extra hour to.
But how's the narrative going to flow after the greatest climactic battle, the Battle of the Five Armies, and after all this stuff is resolved?
The fans are expecting 6 different endings. That's what he.
Really?
That's what he gave us in Return of the King.
He also got a lot of criticism for that.
Well, look,
for doing fade to white,
and it still made the most money,
and then fade to white,
and it's still everybody's favorite movie. It's still everybody's favorite,
even though it's overlong and has too many endings.
Yes, but that's
people have said if that movie had ended 40 minutes ago, they would have loved it a lot more. But
well, now he's going to do that.
Typical complainers have said.
Now he's going to do the same thing, but he's going to give us a better reason to have 6 different endings.
Well, what would be interesting
stuff we actually want to see.
If there was ever an extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring where we could have Peter Hambleton show up in old, glowing
I think
outfit,
he'll do that.
Sitting there with his son Gimli, and maybe they could tell some of this story. Listen to this. It says, "For a while we had news and it seemed good. Messages reported that Moria had been entered and a great work had begun there. Then there was silence, and no word has come from Moria since. That's when the bad stuff went down, and that's what Frodo and the Fellowship are going to explore in the film later on."
So I think you can still set that up, and I want to see the thing of flame again. I want to see the Balrog. So, what was the thing I texted you last week about?
You had suggested that if they ever do a special edition, and Peter might reconsider this, you had a notion of this, and I want to quash rumors before anybody thinks this is reality. This is speculative thinking, okay?
Right.
Wishful thinking, but it might be kind of interesting to see. And I kind of appreciate where he's going there. Justin thought that if they do extra shots with Benedict Cumberbatch, current star of Paramount's big release Star Trek Into Darkness, if Cumberbatch is down there filming necromancer stuff and doing some mocap for Smaug's face, why couldn't he shoot and reshoot the stuff for the mouth of Sauron outside the Black Gates of Mordor, where Aragorn comes up for his final parley with an emissary of the Dark Lord?
I'm telling you, that
could be really interesting to have Cumberbatch replace the actor who did the mouth of Sauron.
You want me to like Return of the King more? If you have
that could be interesting.
Come full circle and suddenly the mouth of Sauron walks out and you see the fear and the last stand for Frodo. And Aragorn has a dialogue with Benedict Cumberbatch, and that voice,
that evil, and if that Cumberbatch voice
and
is,
that those lips, and just that you've already been prepared to expect the evil that is Benedict Cumberbatch's voice. Benedict Cumberbatch as the Mouth of Sauron is reason enough for a special edition Lord of the Rings with extra scenes, changed scenes. No Han shot first, but
oh yeah, Han Solo shoots first.
Tell me in the chat room right now, Benedict Cumberbatch as the Mouth of Sauron. You want a reason to repurchase a Blu-ray extended edition, special edition?
That's a good joke. Lucas would have had Boromir fire first. Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah, Boromir would have stabbed Frodo first and then asks for the ring. Yeah, probably. That's the way Lucas would have redone that. That's funny, though. Cumberbatch as the Mouth of Sauron, I think that's a fascinating idea. And yes, I thought Star Trek Into Darkness was very exciting and very interesting.
It was. I think it was one of the first times we've seen Benedict Cumberbatch as a villain. And look, okay, the movie is out. Star Trek Into Darkness is out around the world. And it's setting box office records, so we're expecting
if you want
this
experience,
is spoilerific. The movie is out.
The movie is out now. I'm going to tell you something. You have to be very familiar with the context of original 1982 film Star Trek to The Wrath of Khan with Ricardo Montalban, and then the context of Into Darkness as a whole film.
Terrible idea.
Very, very satisfying.
You're saying, you guys are saying
pretty good.
That the Benedict Cumberbatch plays the necromancer who becomes Sauron. You're telling me that you won't appreciate Benedict Cumberbatch being Sauron, replacing all the dialogue with overtone, with his voice, his deep Benedict.
The reason why we're talking about this hypothetically, the scenes with Bruce Spence were the least favorite that Peter Jackson had filmed. And he has
Peter,
personally said on record it wasn't working for us, and we were trying to work it out. We were trying to do these weird.
That's why they replaced
that.
That's why we put that troll at the end. Like, it wasn't working so much that they CG'd the troll over Sauron.
Over Sauron?
Right? Isn't that right?
Well, they tried to have Sauron appear, and that didn't work. But the mouth of Sauron, which was done with this weird latex makeup with Bruce Spence,
and then they CG'd his mouth bigger.
You'll remember him as the pilot who's flying that little glider in the Mad Max movies. And Mr. Bruce Spence worked very hard all day, but they couldn't get the makeup to work right. Peter wasn't satisfied with the practical makeup effects, so they cut it out, and then they restored it against his better judgment
for the extended edition, and it still didn't work.
They didn't complete the shot because his dead body and his horse is not lying on the ground in that wide shot when Aragorn retreats away from the opening gates of Mordor. So you still don't see Bruce Spence's body.
At the end
there.
of Return of the King, you have Aragorn fights a big troll.
Yes, he does.
And
which
that
would
troll,
have been Sauron.
That troll was supposed to be Sauron.
Yes.
But they weren't happy with. They had no setup. So when they weren't happy with the performance of the mouth of Sauron, so rather than suddenly Sauron appears and there's no context, they just said, let's just cover him up with a troll. Here you have an opportunity to go back with Benedict Cumberbatch, who is going to be a huge star and probably the fan favorite of these three movies.
Maybe so.
Hopefully Dane Ironfoot comes through, but Benedict Cumberbatch reshooting the ending scene with Aragorn. There are rumors
of what?
Viggo Mortensen is in New Zealand right now.
There are rumors that Viggo's in New Zealand.
There are rumors that Viggo
really
is in New Zealand right now. Why would he be in New Zealand?
What is Viggo doing in New Zealand?
Why would he be in New Zealand? I'm telling you that all signs point to special edition. I'm so getting excited.
You don't even know. This is wild speculation.
This is wild speculation. But if you follow the right people on Twitter, and you read between the lines of what's being said here and there, and who's down there, and who had to delete their tweet because they said, "Oh, it was great seeing Viggo again." What?
Well,
what does that mean? You're in New Zealand. Why would you see? Oh, what reshoots?
Well, Liv Tyler's not down there. If there was a report that she was down there, then I'd be really. Well, then we'd be. She
has no reason to be down there. But I'm telling you, if they reshot the mouth of Sauron with the mouth of Sauron, it would be Benedict Cumberbatch and reshoot that scene with Viggo Mortensen. It makes total sense.
It might not make sense because we've got Benedict playing the Necromancer, who's going to be a certain personification of Sauron. So why would Benedict Cumberbatch get to play 3 different roles in the whole world? He gets to play the dragon Smaug and the Necromancer. He gets to play the mouth of Sauron as well. And one of the fans in the chat room
This is why.
There is a time delay on this. There's a time delay. We're seeing in the chat what you guys are responding to now.
If you want to give me a reason to repurchase Lord of the Rings, give me a special edition with Benedict Cumberbatch and the guy that plays Glowing. I'm telling you,
Peter Hamilton, who plays Glowing
in this movie.
Yes,
in The Hobbit. Right. So anyway, that's all speculation. These are rumors that we're hearing. All we know for sure, 100%, is they are shooting scenes with Gandalf and with who else? Glowing. And who else is on set this week?
Everybody, all the dwarves are there. Has Martin Freeman said anything in the press about being there?
We don't have any confirmation that Martin's down there. That's why I think these are all bridging scenes. I think they're spending 2 months shooting bridging scenes. You know what? You know what else we did?
Well, Murtaugh is correct in reporting that in an interview, Viggo has said that no one from the studio has talked to him or asked him to come and do anything.
And when did that?
So this is just wild speculation. It really is.
And
Leave it to that.
When was that interview?
Yes. See, Threya of Erebor says I've read the same thing, Murtaugh. And yes, Emmy, we will be talking about Oin and Gloin, but we had a moment of news to deliver, and basically the news is that new filming is underway in New Zealand. We definitely know that some of the actors are down there, but not all of them. I don't know where we would get confirmation about
Just follow the right people
about Martin
on Twitter.
Freeman, but you know definitely that Adam Brown is there, John Callan is there, and we've seen pictures with Peter Jackson and Sir Ian McKellen. So what we don't know now.
So you know what? You know what else is on topic now that they're filming stuff again is that we did a poll today, and it's top of mind for everybody. You know, it says, should the Hobbit Desolation of Smaug trailer, which we're expecting any day now, rumors are it will be on Man of Steel, which is a Warner Brothers film, should the trailer show the dragon? And when we've been asking this for the last 2 years, remember we went to Comic-Con, we polled fans, we've been polling fans for the last 2 years, and it was emphatically 100% no. I don't want to see the dragon, surprise me, bring back the magic of the movies. Look at the results of this poll.
Today's poll is
on
an
our
interesting
Facebook.
statistic.
Should they show the dragon? And overwhelmingly, oh well, yeah. Why don't you show us this, silhouette or something?
The choices to answer are yes, no, Benedict Cumberbatch's voice only, or maybe a silhouette or extreme close-up. And overwhelmingly, the winner is people want to see an extreme close-up or some kind of a suggestion in a silhouette.
Overwhelmingly.
I
was surprised.
Previously, people said
surprised?
no, they wanted nothing at all to be revealed.
You were surprised about that.
Well, you gave them the option. You gave them an option to say maybe a silhouette or extreme close-up, nothing too revealing, because they've already gotten some of those reveals of the dragon
right
in an unexpected journey. They've already gotten the tail and something of the wings as it flies like a demon across the flaming skies over Dale. We get to see its claws as it stomps through Erebor's gate. And its
here's
eye.
The thing.
We definitely get to see its eye.
Here's what I want to remind people.
What?
This trailer. Remember this. The Two Towers trailer.
Okay.
And it's not until the very end of this trailer. This was the big trailer.
There it was. Where they turn around and, oh, look, surprise.
Oh, look, you thought Gandalf was dead? No. Let's take one of the biggest surprises and the most look forwarded to things in the entire Two Towers.
And there's Gandalf's
And there he
reappearance.
is in the trailer. And I remember, do you remember the hullabaloo?
Yeah.
Around showing Gandalf the White in the trailer? Everyone was like, holy smokes, I thought he was dead. Like, every passive fan that hadn't read the book but loved the Fellowship of the Ring was just like, what do you mean he's not dead? And then all the fans that had read the book were like, that's one of the key surprises of the book. How come you just spoiled it? I mean, they spoiled the whole thing. So here we are in a similar, not quite as dramatic, but a similar predicament is that, do you show the fans the dragon?
Here's a relative question. Two Towers marketing depended on Gandalf to be revealed.
No, what?
That was why.
Whoa. Explain that.
Does the marketing of this film, The Desolation of Smaug,
need a dragon?
Likewise require a dragon?
Yes.
In the same way that Two Towers marketing required Ian McKellen. If you posit that theory, and if you say, okay, yes, there's an alignment and both of these things must be there for the help of the film, if that's really necessary, then...
Look, everyone's going to go see The Hobbit, too.
I would say that...
They need, and Benedict Cumberbatch is the biggest star right now, especially after Star Trek. They're going to have to show the dragon.
I don't know if they're going to show it talking. I don't think they will show it talking.
Let me hear his voice.
But they might show its silhouette. They might do a very clever silhouette.
Why was Gandalf required for the Two Towers?
Well, there's a way they can show Bilbo having a conversation with the dragon, and you can know that he's in the presence of the beast without showing the dragon. I think that they'll do something, like have a camera pulling up and up away from Bilbo as, the camera goes up and up and up as if it were on the back of the dragon's neck. Then they might show some scale, and hear tinkling of gold coins falling off the dragon's neck as the camera crane rises up above Bilbo. But I don't know if Bilbo should be visible in that shot, because he's going to be wearing the ring and he'll be invisible, and we won't be able to see him in the shot. So I don't know how they're going to show that scale, but there's ways they can show it without showing it, if you know what I mean.
So you're saying they should show the dragon full size in
They did
the trailer.
They should show at least what they showed in the prologue of the film, An Unexpected Journey. A tail.
The snout,
A tail.
the eye.
Yeah, some claws stomping.
I don't want to see. I'm telling you what.
Some claws stomping.
I don't
or
even
a
want to
tail.
see a silhouette. I don't want to see his dragons. I don't want fans to spend the next 6 months nitpicking whether his dragons are attached to his arms or if they're smaller than they say, or if he looks like Pete's dragon. Like, I don't want.
You don't want to see it?
I don't want fans being able to speculate for 6 months. Don't show me anything. I'll hear his voice. Let me hear his voice. Let me hear Benedict Cumberbatch speaking, some key lines and just get, and then I'm thinking like you hear this, you hear Benedict Cumberbatch's voice,
yeah.
and then and then they show like an exhaust of the nose, like a breathe out, like like a puff of, like you'd hear like a bull, like a bull snort,
yes,
like a release, like you hear Benedict Cumberbatch's voice and then poof, like that's
great.
All. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see more than, because fans will speculate and that will affect the movie. So,
they're going to show a bunch of giant spiders. They're going to show a bunch of.
I don't want them to show
the trailers. If we're going to speculate,
spiders don't sell.
They're going to show Legolas. They're going to show Orlando Bloom. They're definitely going to show Evangeline Lilly.
Absolutely.
They're going to show the Elven King, Lee Pace. So we're going to get all this elven stuff. There'll be an emphasis on the Mirkwood experiences and the giant spiders. What they do show of the dragon at the end of the trailer may be nothing more than a tease of his voice or a silhouette, a shadow. But I think that they should show at least, a claw or something like they did show in the prologue of An Unexpected Journey. But you know what? Speculation abounds, and that's the way of things in the fan world. So we can speculate all damn day.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what.
Until Man of Steel comes out and we either see a trailer or we don't see a trailer.
We'll see. We'll see. Now,
so
back to the Oin and Gloin conversation.
This History of the Dwarves Part 4, we're going to look at Oin and Gloin. And these should be two of the most famous dwarves to fans of the original Lord of the Rings movies, because
last week we talked about Ori, Nori, and Dori.
And so
today, no.
Gimli, son of Gloin, everybody's favorite dwarf, Gimli, played by John Rhys Davies, and he is introduced, and he is introduced multiple times throughout the whole trilogy as Gimli, son of Gloin. And here he is.
The ring cannot be unmade, Gimli, son of Gloin, by any craft that we here possess.
And so there is.
You remember
Gloin.
Hugo Weaving saying that?
Does Gloin have any lines in Fellowship Extended Edition?
No. You'd think he would. You'd think he would, but he does not. Gimli does have some added extra lines in Fellowship Extended Edition. He gets 3 hairs off of Galadriel's golden head as a gift. And that's really touching that Gimli gets this added spot of falling in love with a little bit of Cate Blanchett's magical Galadriel loveliness. But Gloin is seen walking side by side into the courtyard of Imladris. There's Gimli and Gloin, father and son, together in the same bloody shot. They're in that shot together. Same shot where Legolas walks in and Boromir rides in, and Elrond is concluding his speech to the wizard Gandalf,
so we have people in the chat room.
We must rely on them. We must rely on dwarves, men, and
you think
and elves.
Gloin is hot?
What? One of the girls thinks that we have another hot dwarf.
Gothy could be a guy or a girl. We don't know. But Gloin, he's like the middle-aged dwarf of the group. I mean, he's got a full beard. He is as masculine as you get, and there's got to be a reason that the dwarves send Gimli and Gloin to the big meeting in Fellowship of the Ring. So let's go back.
There is a reason.
So Gimli and Gloin, what do we know about them?
Okay, there's stuff that happens in the books that doesn't happen in the films at all. Most importantly is that an emissary of Sauron shows up at the Lonely Mountain and says, "Hello, we heard you had some dealings with a Hobbit once, and we need to get some details about this particular Hobbit, and what do you know? And as soon as a Dark Lord from emissary, as soon as an emissary from Mordor shows up at the front gate of Erebor, the Lonely Mountain, the dwarves are like, "What the heck is going on?" And they immediately send Gimli and Gloin as representatives of the king under the mountain to go and visit Elrond and take part in this discussion at the Council of Elrond.
Okay.
Because they're worried because, what's been going on. It's been 30 years. We haven't heard from Balin. There's some kind of bad news going on there. We haven't heard from him. And now people from Mordor are knocking on our door asking about Bilbo. What the heck is that all about? So really cool stuff in the book that's never in the movie at all. And I think it's fascinating. That Gloin and Gimli show up to represent dwarves, as Boromir is sent by Denethor to go represent
That's his
men.
best.
Yes.
Like, Denethor didn't send the second son. He sent his best warrior
And
to the council.
Thranduil does not show up himself. The Elven King stays in his woodland realm, and he sends Legolas, Greenleaf. And he shows up representing the elves to sit down and have this conversation about answering the threat of Mordor. So then they all meet. So now that you know a little bit about that, and we'll remind everyone the differences between the book and the movie are endlessly fascinating. But what I find really cool about Oin and Gloin is that they are represented as brothers. They're in The Hobbit as a team that Thorin relies on to take care of always starting the fire and getting the campfire going. And they bicker with each other about it. They argue and bicker in the books. But they set the campfires and help tear the campfires down. And there is something added in the press notes of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, where John Callan's character, Owen, is an apothecary. He has healing commodities and potions and herbs. So if somebody
The gray-haired guy.
yeah, that's Owen. Yes, the older one. If he is
So are
there,
they
he's
brothers?
going to be there to
Are-
help
are-
heal wounds in the company.
Are they
that get
brothers,
wounded.
or what's
They
going on
are
here?
indeed. They are indeed brothers.
And are they royalty?
They are directly descended from the House of Durin. Yes, they are.
But I thought Thorin was part of Durin's folk.
That's right. They are. They're on the same line. Okay.
So they're part of they're Thorin's family. Are
Oin
they-
and Gloin are both sons of Groin. Okay, he was a companion of Thrain and Thorin in their wanderings after the Battle of Azanulbazar, and Gloin became very rich and very important after the successful quest to Erebor, which is the story of The Hobbit, as we all know.
Okay, so Thorin and his dad, Thorin and Thorin's dad, when they're off doing their dwarvish stuff, Oin and Gloin and their dad are right there with him.
Yes.
So he's basically they're both in the armed forces together.
Yes, they are. Indeed, they are. Now
Okay,
let's go back.
So that's their relationship to Thorin. Is that just like in olden times, everybody that works together is related. No, they're kind of.
Here's how they were represented in the 1970s film, 1977 Rankin Bass adaptation. There's
They look
Oin and
Indian.
Gloin.
They have.
They have funny hats with little points,
Yeah.
and they
Oin and Gloin.
there's Oin and Gloin in the 77 Rankin and Bass, and here they are as brothers. And you'll notice that Weta has designed axes that Gloin carries, and Gimli inherits them, and he's got the exact same throwing axes as his father. They're
Okay.
designed the same. Here, taking a look at this, you'll be able to see a little bit more detail of that battle axe that Gloin has. That's a nice bit of continuity, and
So these two are brothers. They're friends of Thorin, because Thorin and their dad were friends as well.
Yes.
And so he's kind of recruited them to come along the journey and reclaim Erebor, which makes sense. But they're not royalty in any sense. They're just battle ready.
well, they are. I don't know if they are royalty in that sense.
Yeah,
but they are. They are direct descendants of.
They're all part of Durin's folk, which it seems like every dwarf in the movie is.
No, not all of them. Not all of them are from the same family.
Okay.
They're not all from the same family, and not all the dwarves within Thorin's company are of Durin's line.
Okay.
Most of them, but Gloin is a said to be, according to Wikipedia, direct descendant.
Does Glowing already have Gimli as a son in the time of the Hobbit? Good question.
Well, hey, there's a shot. There's an actual publicity shot that was used when it was a 2-film cut, and let's see if we can find it. I'm going to search for Glowing.
Well, because if you remember, if you watch all of the behind the scenes videos that Peter Jackson's been publishing, in one of the first 2 or 3 videos from Peter Jackson, John Rhys Davies is on set. And he says hello to everybody, and he's they make light of the fact that he doesn't have to put on the makeup, and he's like, I'm laughing at all these guys that have to go through the makeup thing and all that stuff. But New Zealand is not a convenient country to visit. I mean, it's in the corner of the world. So why would John Rhys Davies be down in New Zealand? Unless they were actually shooting some stuff.
Here's a picture. Here's a picture of John Rhys Davies
on
set, visiting during the scenes of Bag End.
Yeah.
There's John Rhys Davies hugging Peter Hambleton, who plays his dad.
So that's father and son there.
That's it, Gimli, son of Glowing.
That's
correct.
John Rhys Davies, he's such a great guy. He showed up to all of our Oscar parties.
Yes,
he was on the panel at Dragon Con last year. Wasn't that fantastic?
Oh, yes, it was. Take a look. See the dwarves who are shown in the Fellowship of the Ring?
So that's from Fellowship of the Ring.
And those are the dwarves. And who's third from left is John Rhys Davies as Gimli. The person who is second from left, I assume, is Glowing.
And that's an opportunity for a special edition
where they would reshoot that scene?
Replacement with the actual actor that played Glowing. So these two are brothers. Did they show up to Bilbo's house when everybody kind of stumbles in? Were they part of that just group that just everybody comes in at once?
Yes, they were. They were part of that group stumble.
When do we see Oin and Gloin have an opportunity to kind of showcase their quality?
This is an important picture, and I'll talk about an answer to your question. This is an important picture that came from an early preview image where they're covered in spider webs. This must be relative to something that happened in Mirkwood. And there you were asking, do we ever show Glowing holding up a picture of his son? And there he is. He's holding up a picture of his son. And it looks like there's a bit of where he's sharing this maybe with Martin Freeman.
Wow.
And saying, look, and he holds out this picture. There's my son. I need to do this for my family. I need to go back home to Erebor to do this for my son, for my future, my generations to come. Maybe this is the dialogue that Glowing is having.
Do we have any of that dialogue in the book?
No, we don't. I'm just speculating that this is what the scene is. But there you guys look, in the farthest left of that frame, and there's an actual silvery picture frame where Glowing is holding a picture of his boy, Gimli.
John Rhys Davies is actually going to be in the UK this weekend at Collector Mania, and we highly recommend saying hi to him. And in fact, we all recommend taking a picture with him, because when you take a picture with John Rhys Davies, he has a funny little habit of getting the best performance out of you when you're taking a picture. So just watch your backside.
Yes, actually.
But Oin and Gloin. So this was an original publicity still.
Yes, it was.
The first Hobbit movie.
This is some of the footage that I saw from CinemaCon when I saw the very first HFR presentation.
Okay,
that's where I saw that footage from.
So that was originally is that the spiders scene?
It looks like they're covered. Yes.
So that was originally supposed to be in the first movie.
Yes.
So we might open up. One of the questions is Desolation of Smaug. Will it open with spiders or will it open with bears?
I wonder. Will it open with spiders?
Like if you're gonna open with an action an action sequence.
There's if we're going to continue this chronology the way the filmmakers are doing it, our encounter in the beginning of Desolation of Smaug will be with Bjorn.
Okay.
Bjorn is.
So wait, go back.
Yes. There's John Callan in full makeup.
Oin
as
is the guy with the ear thing?
Yes, with the ear horn. That's correct.
Ah. Okay, so Oin is Gimli's uncle.
Yes.
And he's the one with that horn thing.
Yes.
Why does he have a horn?
Because he's hard of hearing.
Well, do they explain... Does Tolkien ever explain that in the book?
Tolkien never explains that at all.
Did Tolkien even mention it, or was that a movie made-up thing?
That's a movie-invented thing.
So the hard of hearing
There's
is...
Peter Hamilton, and in and out of makeup, as Glowing. And
Gimli.
There's actually, yes, Gimli.
Glowing. Glowing.
I'm very impressed with...
So you're telling me that one of the liberties that Peter Jackson took with the characters, one of the most visual liberties, is Owen has he's hard of hearing, and he's got that little bloop, bloop,
Yes, he's got that ear.
which is one of the biggest continuity errors.
Oh, is it? How was that?
Don't they show in The Hobbit? Don't they show the horn, his ear thing getting smashed?
That does happen when they're held captive in Goblin Town.
And then later on, he's got a horn?
No, he doesn't have it ever in the rest of the film. It's like when Fellowship of the Ring gets to a certain point and Gandalf leaves his hat behind in Balin's tomb in the Chamber of Mazarbul. Well,
okay.
You don't see Gandalf with that hat anymore for the rest of Fellowship of the Ring.
Glowing's wife should be voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. No, who?
That's
Desano,
funny.
come on.
Desano, I appreciate that point.
Brighter Moon will be at Collector Mania. Get some autographs there. That'd be good.
That's funny.
My prediction is that Desolation of Smaug will start off with a flashback to Smaug's attack on Erebor, and Bard gets his black arrow from his father. Why would they do that? Why would they repeat the opening? Like, they did that for the opening in the first Hobbit movie. Basically, here's the story of the dragon. Like, don't do that again.
No, I
Don't
wonder.
do that again.
Remember, every film has a great opening prologue, and I wonder what the opening prologue for this second film would be.
What was the opening prologue in Two Towers?
Well, it was the flashback to what happens to Gandalf and the Balrog as they fell beneath the bridge.
Oh, but that wasn't really that was kind of a flashback, but that was kind of real time. Like, that is the best opening scene ever put on film.
And then you forgot it, and you asked.
Two
You had to
Towers.
be reminded. You had to be
Well,
reminded.
no. One of the reasons is you said it was flashback, but I don't consider it flashback. I consider that Two Towers like jumping right in. Look where we left off. We left off with this, and we're gonna jump you right into the action.
Frodo is having a dream of the fight between Gandalf and the Balrog.
Yeah.
And that every film opens with a great opening. And, of course, in The Return of the King, there's a special opening of the history of Smeagol, and how Gollum becomes Gollum.
I didn't like that.
So,
but
if
I can see why
we
people
need to
like
wonder what the second film or the third film, I wonder, what are their openings going to be?
No spoilers. Is there a pic of Dane Ironfoot yet? No, not yet.
Oh, gosh. I wish.
Is he in the second movie?
DeZeno, I really wish that we had some images.
Is he in the second movie?
Of Mr. Billy
Connolly.
I wish. And who knows? Who knows how far into the narrative the second film is going to go? I don't expect Billy Connolly to show up until the third film.
Really?
I really don't expect him
Really?
at all.
That'd be too bad.
Cliff and Justin, I am no woman. I am Lieutenant Gothmog. Hello, Gothy.
Gothy.
It's good to have you back, Gothmog. Would you like one for the... All right, I'll give you one just for being good today. Grond. There you go. You got one. All right, you got one. Very good.
Bilbo dreaming of his home? Nah.
Hey, I wonder what kind of a peculiar opening... Well, we might have an opening of...
Azog and Balg?
We might have an opening with Gandalf going to find the tombs of the Nazgul that have been broken open.
Yeah, don't do that.
They might have that as an opening, with Gandalf and Radagast going up to those graves high in the fells of Rhudaur, as Galadriel said in the film.
He comes to the company's aid. So
I wonder.
This is a great picture of Oin and Gloin.
Yeah, one of my favorites of the two brothers.
And so what?
That's a great picture.
So obviously, it looks like Oin is older.
It does. The young lady who came on stage to meet with us during the Oscar party,
Yeah.
she does the latex and hair, ears, and beard makeup for John Callan. Remember I brought her up on stage, and she said hello to everybody during the Oscar telecast.
So the reason people would know Oin is he's got the horn thing. And the reason that people will know Glowing is as Gimli's father.
Yes, that's right.
And so, is it going to be in the second or third movie where each character proves their quality?
The characters have a lot of time in between the second and third film to prove their quality. I'm very curious how the second film is going to begin. Somebody in the chat room suggested that we might see a scene of Bard, and we might meet Luke Evans inheriting the black arrow from his father. That could be interesting to do.
That won't happen because we haven't been introduced to Bard.
We haven't.
You got to bring us slowly in a character that we care about. Show us what's going on. Get us up to speed with characters that we care about.
Well, then they're going to have to do something with Bilbo. Perhaps he's going to be having a dream. Maybe Bilbo will have a dream like Frodo had a dream at the beginning of Two Towers. Mm-hmm. And Bilbo will be dreaming of something that happened. And I don't know. I'm really quite in the dark here, but it's possible they might draw parallels to the first trilogy. You never know with these guys.
Right.
They might just do that. So
because they ended the movie at the top of that cliff.
They sure did. Hanging right up there.
Right.
And
does Gandalf continue on with them, or does Gandalf take off?
No, they meet Bjorn, who's the first character.
Is Gandalf with them?
Well, you saw that mural of Gandalf talking to the giant bear that's 10 feet tall. That's Gandalf talking to Bjorn, So we know that Gandalf's going to be there, and we're going to meet this new character and all of his animal friends. That's going to happen at the top of the film, somewhere in there.
An ear trumpet, not a horn thing.
Yes, thank you, Gothy. It is.
Okay.
Indeed. Ha ha ha.
An ear trumpet. So it gets smashed, and we don't know if he's going to have another one. But that was one of the key things that I didn't like about The Hobbit is that they made a big, like, if you're going to show the horn getting smashed, make us care about the horn. Make us care about the horn early in the movie. So at the end,
they do. You care about it. They play jokes with it. Dwalin pours beer into it, and Owen blows the beer out of his horn. And
but that doesn't do anything with the character. Like I guess
they even make jokes about him being hard of hearing. They even do that where he's like, "It looks like you're going." Well, Ori, Adam Brown, who was just here last week, Ori says, "That's why we need a burglar," and Martin Freeman says, "Yes, that's right. I expect you will. And a right good one at that. And an expert one at that." And this guy, Glowing, says, "Well, are ya?" And he goes, "Am I what?" And the guy with the ear horn, Owen says, "Did you hear that? He said he's an expert. Yay!" And then they even make jokes about him not hearing Bilbo right. But
so why is he along for the ride if he's hard of hearing and he's old?
He's the apothecary. He has medicine, especially helpful when Gandalf is not around because Gandalf keeps disappearing.
So he's the guy that does Phoenix down and revives people.
Yes, Oin and Gloin are there because Oin has read the portents and read the signs and the omens to help guide Thorin to this motivational point where he's going to get these dwarves together and even make this journey in the first place.
Okay.
It's because of Oin saying, "Yes, Thorin, yes, my lordship, I have taken a look at the signs, and it seems like the time is right. There's an alignment of things. They say that the ravens are returning to the mountain, and Glowing is backing him up. So you can imagine that Balin and Glowing and Oin are whispering in Thorin's ears for months and months and months, saying, 'Sire, why are we just sitting here resting on our hands over here in the Blue Mountains when we should go over there and the wealth of Erebor remains left unattended, untouched?'"
So these two guys are the ones that are always pushing to reclaim the wealth, and that would explain why they go for Moria after Erebor. So they're the ones that look, let's go claim our wealth, and then they get Erebor, and then that's not enough, and they're like, well, we can triple our wealth if we go and claim Moria.
We still have our own abandoned greatest kingdom of all great kingdoms.
Right. Well,
It's like-
it
it's
didn't
like-
sound like from what you read, it was less about the kingdoms and more about the riches still in that kingdom.
Well, that's what makes the dwarven heart burn with desire.
But these two particular
the
dwarves,
gold lust. That's one of the things that Tolkien has described as an aspect
it's
of the
Oin,
race.
it's Oin and Gloin that have a particularly strong affect for gold, and they're the ones that are pushing Thorin.
Well, the Thorin is not making this decision blindly without getting counsel from his kindred.
Right, but
his
then
kindred.
but then these two guys, they take their money and they pay a bunch of people to go with them to Moria. Like, these guys are all about, let's go.
Yeah, imagine that you knew that Atlantis was there and it was your homeland and it's just sitting there. Why would you not go back and take it and reclaim it and repopulate it and make it glorious again? Why would you leave it there sitting there when it was once the glory of Atlantis, your home? If the dwarves feel that way about Khazad-dûm, and that's a loose analogy, they feel this is their ancestral home, which was the greatest and biggest of all their metropolises underground.
Right.
And indeed it was. And it was the source of all their wealth. And Gandalf explains in the extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring that it wasn't gold, it was mithril that they found in Moria. And it was underneath the Tower of Karathras. That's what the elves call it. But the dwarves have another name for that mountain, Zarak Zagil. Anyway, all this stuff is really important to dwarves, and why would they want to leave it abandoned? Of course, they're thinking about it all the time. However, there's a suggestion in the writings of Tolkien that there were whispers being spread by Sauron and Sauron's emissaries that were making the dwarves feel uncomfortable with leaving it there alone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Sauron has a way of influencing people by spreading whispers and lies to make things happen. And he's the kind of person who would do that. That's his trademark.
Okay.
Maybe it was like a whole grand scheme.
So these two characters obviously live through the Hobbit trilogy of movies and their fates. The end of their story is in Fellowship of the Ring, where
yes.
he sends it. Glowing sends his son Gimli. It goes to the thing and says, "You know what? If one of us got to go, it's going to be Gimli."
Yes.
And then Oin is in Moria
and has been gone, yeah,
and nobody knows if he's alive or dead until they find that he's dead.
I'm really quite surprised that Glowing does not go along with Gimli in the Fellowship. I'm really surprised the Fellowship didn't have 10 members. At that point, I don't know. Maybe Glowing just felt he was beyond his years, but he's there. He's full on in the story, and all that stuff was cut from the film versions of Fellowship of the Ring, where Glowing is a presence. The reason why? At that time, Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh were interested in establishing new characters and new relationships with them. They weren't thinking that they were even going to shoot The Hobbit back then. So they were not interested in pumping up Glowing's presence in the film.
That's what I'm saying. Glowing is someone that could have a bigger role in a special edition Fellowship of the Ring.
Quite possibly.
Do we see Glowing at the end of Return of the King? What happens to Gimli at the Return of the King? The last time we see Gimli is in the coronation.
Yes, that's the very last shot we see of Gimli at all. After Frodo wakes up, Frodo wakes up and they have that slow motion laughter scene that lasts for about 3 minutes. That constant 3-minute slow motion of laughter, which is really kind of fun. I like it.
But gay overtones.
It's not that
believable.
It's not that gay, but it is kind of fun. Well, I don't know. It depends upon
the soft, blurry Golden Girls focus, the slow motion, and the wink, and. But the question is, do we see Glowing in the coronation of...
We do not.
Are you sure?
We don't see any dwarf.
There's no dwarf except Gimli.
We see Gimli standing immediately to the side of Gandalf, and he gives him the crown. He's the crown bearer, like at a wedding. There's a ring bearer who's got a pillow with the ring on top.
Crown bearer.
Then now there's a crown bearer. That's Gimli. It is in Tolkien that Gimli's craftsmen and the dwarves from Erebor crafted a beautiful, beautiful crown for Elisar. And that was the new name that he took on as king of Gondor and king of the reclaimed realm
Who would
of
win,
the north.
Smaug or Balrog?
Aragorn didn't go by Aragorn after his coronation. He went by Elisar.
Elisar.
King Elisar. So, and even in the extended Fellowship of the Ring, Cate Blanchett calls him that.
Yeah.
And she says, "We will not meet again, Elisar." She calls him that to his face.
Right. Respect.
Respect, knowing that he's going to be king.
Respect.
But Gimli is there at the coronation. That's the last shot we see of him. Never again.
Okay,
Never again in the rest of the movie.
All right. So that's fine. But so
find that
basically
interesting.
the end, the last time we ever saw. Yeah, and I'm telling you, it wouldn't take a lot. You could get that done in half a day, replacing glowing, the Hobbit glowing into the Fellowship glowing. It wouldn't be that much effort.
I don't know. There's and of course Tolkien Girl is correct in mentioning that in the books, in Tolkien's original stories, there's much more interesting historical events that pursue on the tales of Legolas and Gimli and their friendship together.
Right.
Something that you don't know yet, but I'll clue you in. There's a bunch of stuff underneath Helm's Deep, lots of caverns called the Glittering Caves.
Right.
The Glittering Caves where the women and children and Éowyn
They go
go
to hide,
hiding
yep.
underneath Helm's Deep. But Gimli, the dwarf, goes down there in the books and says, "Wow, this is amazing! The caves of Aglarond, they're filled with so many gems and crusted jewels and stalactites that glimmer and gleam in the darkness. And it's so amazing." And he goes down there later on after the War of the Ring is over, and Gimli helps to establish a new dwarven kingdom in the Glittering Caves underneath Helm's Deep.
Gimli.
Yes, Gimli does that. And that John Rhys Davies Gimli. And guess what else even happens? A special friendship between Legolas and Gimli cannot be ignored. At the end of the appendix, at the back of Return of the King, you discover that one of
start to talk about his son and have pictures of his son and start to build this father character who really cares about the son and wants great things for his son. Who would have known that his son Gimli would go on to do great things?
Yes, exactly.
Like he sees something, as most parents do. He sees something in his son that is worth dying for.
Yes.
And do you think that there is some sort of knowledge that he's basing that love off of, beyond a normal fatherly love? Do you think he is aware of a tale or a broader story or some foresight that something or someone has told him that your son is destined for greatness?
Maybe. I don't know. We have yet to see this dialogue in the second film. But that publicity still shows us for a fact that Glowing is a family man and he is thinking about his son. Definitely thinking about his son and providing for his progeny.
Okay.
Definitely. We know that much for sure. So, what an interesting bit of Dwarven history we've had today.
Yes.
Learning about, again, the failed attempt to reclaim Moria. And it does fuel more speculation because when we asked Adam Brown last week, I asked him right to his face, and he wouldn't say a word. But the fact that he closed his eyes and smiled and wouldn't say a word was enough of an admission for me. You know what the question was that I put to him? The question was, Adam, are they shooting any footage of Ken Stott, who plays Bob
for their channel in between the Rebels? It's called Star Wars Rebels, right? It's a story of the Rebels.
Yeah.
So if Warner Brothers is smart, and Warner Brothers has a Cartoon Network, they have the Cartoon Network.
Yes, they do.
Like, what if they set up an animated series called The Hunt for Gollum that is literally between Hobbit 3 and Lord of the Rings 1?
Sounds great to me.
It's exactly what Disney's doing with Star Wars. Between episode 3 and 4, they have a whole new series between episode 3 and 4, they have a whole new series about Rebels.
Yeah.
Right? So Warner Brothers sets up The Hunt for Gollum, which are all new stories that have nothing to do with the appendices.
Right.
Complete creative liberty and control.
I don't know. There are very specific limits.
If you set up Viggo, if Viggo is in New Zealand, that's our mission this week to find out if Viggo is in New Zealand.
Hello, Beaufort's wife. I'm glad you mentioned that, Beaufort's wife. We actually confirmed with Adam Brown last week. Is the archive up already?
Yeah.
All right, you can go ahead and watch the show from last week, and you'll hear the actual words from Adam Brown saying, yes,
the skeleton is Ori.
The skeleton that is holding onto the book of Mazarbul is indeed his character, Ori. It was confirmed to him by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. So, yes, we did talk about that last week. Yes, indeed. So, Teteris, hello. In answer to your question, Teteris has a really cool, brand new article that's going to go up on the OneRing.net main page. You'll see it in less than an hour. Within the hour, it'll be called The Beacons of Gondor, and it's a really cool new thing. Teteris has provided some very interesting editorial content. Thank you.
For Gollum is a fan film.
Oh,
right,
yes.
Exactly.
There's a big Hunt for a Gollum fan film.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we did not mention the fact that they scored a big hit. Those guys who made that Hunt for Gollum.
It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. It might be on iTunes. It's on Netflix. The Hunt for Gollum.
Hunt for Gollum movie.
Other news this week is that just announced today is that
it's a 38-minute film. All right.
If you recall, a few years ago, our friend Peter Jackson was in the running to produce a movie based on Halo. Do you remember this? Peter Jackson,
I do remember this.
Really wanted to do the Halo movie, and then he had a kind of a friend named Neil Blomkamp, who was very capable, independent filmmaker, and Peter Jackson brought him under his tutelage, and I wouldn't be surprised if Neil Blomkamp has done some stuff on King Kong and maybe even Return of the King that may be uncredited. But once upon a time, Peter Jackson was connected to a Halo feature film, and this was going to be big. It's going to be really big. But as things happen, the Halo movie never happened. So here we are, and today Microsoft just announced that Halo will be a live-action television series.
For real?
A dramatic,
really,
live-action
a TV series.
Television series.
That sounds interesting.
Produced by Steven Spielberg.
Really?
Steven Spielberg. Which, okay,
wow.
That's great. That's fine, right? A boy and his Spartan. That's just what I want out of Halo. But what happened? The question is...
That's funny.
What happened to Peter Jackson's involvement with Halo? Peter... obviously, they didn't have confidence in Neil, and Neil Blomkamp ended up and did Oblivion,
District 9,
District 9, which was great, and then I think he just do Oblivion. No, he didn't do Oblivion.
No.
He did that other movie that's like Oblivion, but hopefully it will be better with Ewan McGregor and the Off-World. Something.
Oh yes, that's coming out soon.
It's coming out soon.
Elysium.
Elysium.
Elysium is going to be really stunning. But Elysium is going to blow After Earth and Oblivion out of the water.
Yeah.
Trust me.
He's that good. But Peter Jackson, once upon a time, was assigned to Halo. What do you think happened that Peter Jackson, who was originally attached with Halo, could have had an opportunity to produce a live-action dramatic TV series about Halo, and now Steven Spielberg is doing it. Now, here's the connection. What was that animated film that they did together? Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson
The Adventures of Tintin.
Did The Adventures of Tintin. And remember, they were going to produce one, direct the other. So Peter Jackson produces one, and Spielberg directs it.
Yes.
And then they were going to reverse roles, and Spielberg would produce it, and Peter Jackson would direct. What's the status of Tintin?
I don't know if they're going to do another Tintin, are they?
Right. Are they going to do it? And so...
I wonder.
And you have to wonder, of course, Spielberg and Peter Jackson working together on 2 feature films and 2 scripts in very close detail.
Yes.
You have to wonder in conversation, they say, hey, hey, I got this Halo connection. I can't really do it, or I don't really want to do it.
Now you're talking.
Can you take this over?
I wonder. Well,
it's an interesting thing. Like when you start to put who works with who, and like.
But when you're talking about chain of title and a producer trying to bring their efforts into a project, if they let go of an option, the option goes to someone else who's waiting in line to get the option for the property. And if Peter Jackson 12 years ago said, oops, I can't do Halo right now, I don't think he still has the option this many years later. He went on to do Lord of the Rings instead. Peter went on to do King Kong and a few other things instead.
Peter Jackson was going to do Halo after Lord of the Rings. This was after King Kong.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Halo movie was going to happen.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so...
Like 5 years ago.
But no, it was more than 5 years ago.
Wasn't it?
No, it was much more than 5 years ago.
It was after King Kong.
Then it must have been about 6 or 7 years ago. But
so that's the time frame that we're looking at. And now fast forward, and they're doing a dramatic television series of Halo, and Peter Jackson's not involved. And
that seems because the rights to something passes on to the next party who wants to make it happen.
Okay.
You know what, guys? I have to realize Murtaugh found something that's very, very interesting to me. Murtaugh said that there's a clip and there's a link that says that Viggo is not currently in New Zealand. That's the link. If Viggo is not in New Zealand, then was he there for a period of time, and is he gone now? Maybe he was there in secret for a little while, but that's very interesting.
Hobbit, Viggo still hopes for return. April 15th. This is a month ago.
Oh, that was a month ago, Murtaugh?
Yeah,
okay.
We're talking about latest and greatest information.
Like brand new rumors.
You know what? I'm just going to start hanging out, having breakfast every morning at Earth Cafe in Venice, where he frequents, and maybe if I bump into him, then he's not in New Zealand.
We'll see, but yeah, he does have his usual shops and morning coffee places that he goes to.
Yes,
right
there,
does.
Right there in Venice. Well, that's the history of Dwarves Part 4. Oin and Gloin.
Well, yeah, it seems if Viggo would have had a few months' notice. It's also possible, Murtaugh, that Viggo's just playing with the press and not revealing what his real plans are.
There's no reason any actor would bring up any hope of being in the movie. There's no reason any actor would go on the record, even if it was a month ago or 6 months ago, to say, yeah, I would love for them to call me back.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. You don't.
I get that. I do get that.
You don't say that unless
that's not the way to finesse that.
unless no finessing is required. Unless that is the most politically safe way of saying, I'm already involved. The contracts have been signed, and I'm going to work soon. The politically safe way of saying that is like, it would be great if they called me.
Yeah, just leave everybody fooled. Leave everyone hanging.
So that
Who
doesn't
knows?
tell it.
It
that
might be the ultimate red herring.
It doesn't say.
Might be.
That means he doesn't say no. It doesn't. If someone says, "Hey, are you working at Hobbit?" and his answer is, "Yeah, I'd love to be involved if they call me." Like that. Yeah, that's exactly. Most people, if they're not involved in the movie, they say, well, I'm on to bigger, better things, or I've got these movies coming up, or my schedule is pretty busy, or I'm a family man now, or I can't take the long hours, the intensity of the shit. Like, actors don't talk like that unless they're already booked on the show.
Do you know, before we do close the show, I would say it would be a brilliant thing for the marketing of the third film to have some cool little preview clips of Aragorn and Gandalf running through the woods looking for Gollum or something like that. That would help sell tickets. You
better believe that.
It's a win-win situation for fans, for Peter Jackson, and for the success of the film, commercially speaking. If they're sticking all this stuff from the appendices, plural, and the stuff from the appendices is now going into The Hobbit, they might as well go full on, balls to the wall, and just actually show all these cool things that we really want to see. Whoops.
Well, when it comes to the trailer, I hope they don't show the dragon.
You personally don't want to see the dragon.
I don't want to see the dragon.
Do you want to see a flame breath or hear a voice or something?
I'll hear a voice, and I'll see a nostril, but I don't want to see his wings.
Okay.
I don't want to see his body.
Okay.
I don't want people to spend the next 6 months blah blahing about nitpicking every little thing about that dragon. Less is
they
more.
Will. They'll nitpick the heck out of it.
Reveal the dragon in the movie in the theater on a big screen with my 3D glasses on. Let me take in the immensity of this dragon in a dark theater with my 3D glasses on.
I agree with you on that.
Not in a trailer.
I do agree with you on that.
On QuickTime. So, Oin and Gloin, Gimli's father and uncle, the guy with the horn in the ear. We profiled him today.
The guy with the ear horn. Owen, played by John Callan, and Gloin, played by Peter Hambleton.
And both of those actors potential to be both potential to be in a special edition Lord of the Rings if that is happening.
And also possibly Adam Brown might be in, but that's a wild speculation.
But definitely they are key characters in the bridge to Fellowship. They're key characters.
Especially Ken Stott as Balin, Adam Brown as Ori, and John Callan as Owen. It's all about Ori, Owen, and Balin, taking them off to reclaim Moria. Hopefully we'll see some conversation about this in the third film. Hopefully.
Yes.
We'll see.
In the meantime, we'll get some baby pictures, and we'll get some spider webs. We'll get some bears.
Spider webs and baby pictures.
And oh my.
And giant bears. But I'm telling you, do you think Orlando is going to be a really prominent featured face in all posters and marketing for Desolation of Smaug?
No.
I think that will be a new influence.
I think that will be this week. Fast and the Furious 6 comes out in the United States, and I think if it hits #1 and it hits big, I think it's going to make Fast 6 is going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And Luke Evans is the bad guy in that movie. Go see it if you want to see Luke Evans at some of his finest.
Yes.
The premiere is tonight in Hollywood.
Oh yes, yes.
So you want to see Luke Evans before Bard playing an alpha male role? Go see Fast 6, and I think based on Benedict Cumberbatch being #1 with Star Trek.
I also recommend you guys check out Star Trek Into
Darkness. And Luke Evans playing a bad guy in Fast 6 that will be #1 again.
Yeah.
I think they've got all their #1, fans ready to go. We'll see.
We don't know what the ad campaign will be yet. Hopefully Man of Steel will reveal all to us. Hopefully, very soon.
And before that, hopefully we have another behind the scenes video from Peter Jackson. He
promises very soon.
He says soon. So till next week, this has been the History of Dwarves
Part 4
as on Torn Tuesday.
And next week we'll do Biffer, Boffer, and Bomber. And
really?
That'll be Chapter 5. And then Chapter 6, our very final installment in this series, we'll talk about Thorin Oakenshield himself.
Excellent.
Thank you guys.
Till next time.
Cheers.